Welcome back, my CK3 rulers. Today we'll be covering the decision to restore the HRE and restore the Carolingian borders. So let's get right into it, shall we? As always, we'll start with the requirements that cover the effects and finally short as I finally show a short guide on how to do it in your games. So the requirements for restoring the HRE are as follows. You have to be an adult, you have to be independent, you have to be feudal clan, but because you're in Europe, you're gonna be feudal. Your title rank must be a king, so you can create an empire before that. Your realm must be a 140 size. You have to own the kingdom of East Francia and own other at least other three other kingdom, well, two other kingdoms plus the kingdom of East Francia. You have to be from a Christian religion, but if you're in Europe, you're probably gonna be Catholic, so let's say Catholic. And the level of fame must be at level 3. And obviously because we're Catholic, the Pope must have either one of three things. You have to have 60 plus opinion with the Pope. You have to have a hook, or either a weak or a strong hook on the Pope, and the other three requirements that are hidden ones that are not specified in the decision are the owner of the Byzantine Empire can't follow the same decision, but because they're Orthodox, you're probably gonna not have any problem. You can't have the excommunicated trait, and the Empire of Francia can't exist. So as you can see here, you have to start at age 67. The start date since the HRE already starts exists in the 1066 start date. And the effects are as follows: you gain 750 prestige, you gain 500 fame, you gain 30 opinion with your direct vassals for 30 years, you gain the Holy Roman Empire title, which basically replaces the Empire of Germany in the 867 start date. Yeah, the Holy Roman Empire title obviously gets their Prince Elective succession law, which is yes. All your and other held titles, for example, East Francia, Lotharingia, or other that are not included directly or the Jew part of Germania, will become the Jew part of the Holy Roman Empire, and the Kingdom of East Francia is destroyed. You gain the nickname the Great. And before moving on to the decision of the Crystal Carolingian borders, and here's a fun fact: the start game, or when the game released in September 2020, the decision to restore the HRE, you had other two requirements, which you had to hold all the electors of the HRE, which most of them were already part of East Francia and Bavaria, but there you also have to control the Bohemia and Ostmark. Fun fact: Ostmark is also known as Lusticia. I don't know how it's pronounced or how it's called, but it's basically Berlin or Brandenburg, but because it's in hands of the pagan Slavs and the Polavian culture group, it's called like that. And it actually became a problem because nobody knew what the fuck was Ostmark until someone realized that if a German ruler controls that duchy, he changes the name to Ostmark. So, and after many complaints to Paradox, they actually changed the requirements in the first major patch in 1.1, so you didn't have to control Bohemia and Ostmark. Now, after all that said, let's actually get to uncovering the rest of the Carolingian borders. The requirements are as follows: you need to be an adult, you have to be at peace, you have to own the Empire of Francia. Obviously, your capital must be in Francia. Well, in Western Europe, you have the Holy Roman Emperor must be another character, so you can't own it, and you have to control the regions. Well, Francia, northern Italy, all of basically the Holy Roman Empire, except for Osmak, Bohemia, and the regions of Aragon and Barcelona, basically from Iberia. You have to be from a French culture group. You have to be from a Christian religion, so Catholic, basically, and your level 5 must be at level 3. So this means that you have to start in the 1066 start date, as you need another character to own the HRE as proper. And the facts are as follows: you gain 350 prestige. You gain the primogeniture law, which is the best succession law in the game, hands down. There's no way about it. And well, if you know anything about the game, you know that you only get this succession law very late in the game. Your culture also gains the heraldry, knighthood, and royal prerogative innovations if you didn't have them. The current Holy Roman Emperor gains a 100 minus opinion of you, and he also spends 350 prestige, and of course the Holy Roman Empire title is destroyed by the decision. You also gain the nickname the Great. Now, after all that said, now I will show you this short guide for you to do it in your campaigns. As we already said, to restore the HRE, you need to start in the 1867 start date. And while there is a lot of characters you can do with it, I mean, there is a start screen that has a lot of characters to choose from. I think the one who has the best shot of restoring the HRE is Charles the Bald. He starts with the ability to marry a lot of people like the Byzantines, Alba, and many other kingdom tiles or even empire tiles, like I said, the Byzantines. And he starts with the most troops of than any other Carolingian ruler in Europe. Now, there's not much to talk about in terms of guide, since, well, if you're watching this, you pretty much know how to play the game. So, just as a tip, I would say just try to marry as many people as possible. You get as much alliance as possible and attack the other Carling rulers at the start of the game, since you have claims to every Carling kingdom. And why I say you need the allies, because you're gonna have a lot of rebellions, so you're basically gonna be relying on them to quell those rebellions down. And try to murder anyone who has claim to your tile, because it's going to be fucking annoying having to deal with pretenders. Now, to restore the Carolingian border, it's pretty straightforward. Like I said, you just need to basically create the empire tile of Francia and conquer the required land. But that wouldn't be so cool with it. You be like just like any character. So let's do it as the last Caroling in the 1066 start date. Our main objective should be become the king of France since we start as a count. To do that, we have two options. Either we get a claim through the Pope, or we use the aristocracy perk to claim the throne. And you might be saying, that's easy, you can do that. But how the hell are you going to take on the entire French army? So for that, we will need some allies for. At the very start of the game, we will try to get an alliance with William the Conqueror in Normandy, as if he wins the war for the King of England, he will have a large amount of troops that we will be using to our advantage. Now, what we want to do is to also kill the French king, so all his alliances are broken, and if you catch the French king in a big war like against the HRE or even a civil war, you should have no problem becoming the French king, and yeah, after that is pretty straightforward. I hope you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe, and comment, as this helps my videos reach a wider audience. This was the Factus Expert, signing off.